Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Nomzamo, as I watched this movie, I pretty much knew most of the actors in this film because I've seen their work with the exception of yours. Then I started looking you up and I'm like, okay, I need to catch up on who this actress is. So when you get a role like this and you're joining the team, how did this role come about for you?
Oh my goodness. First of all, I was in Abu Dhabi doing work with the UN in my role as the Goodwill Ambassador. I get a call from my agent and he was like, I know you're supposed to fly out in the morning back to South Africa, but there's an audition that you don't want to miss. You can send the tape, but if you're in the room, you're going to make that impact. And I was like, what's the movie? Or what's the project? And he said, Coming to America. I was like, well, I guess we're canceling the flight. We're getting another flight all the way to LA. And I took that flight and I landed in LA and I did the audition. And yeah, my callback was fantastic with Craig Brewer. He was just he made me relax and he didn't even fuss. And I remember I did like a take and he was like, okay, next scene. And I was like, don't you have notes? Are you sure you don't have notes for me? So it was such a fantastic experience just auditioning for the role. I really, really wanted it because it was so rooted in the traditional Zamundan woman. And I knew that I would give it that essence and the nuance. And so on my grandmother's birthday on the 27th of July, 2019, the call came in that I'd gotten the role. And as they say, the rest is history.
You were just a toddler when the first film came out, So, but, the film is culturally known. Everybody knows about this movie. When did you first see Coming to America? And did you go back to see it when you got the role, before or afterwards?
I wasn't even born when it came out because I was born in 90. So I think I was like 8 or 9 the first time that I saw it. But of course, I'm still a kid, so I'm not going to understand fully like the jokes or whatever. But I just knew that my dad was obsessed with it. So he would like watch it all the time. It's not until I was a teenager where you get the jokes and you're just like laughing and it becomes a part of your top 5, most favorite movies. Obviously, then when you get the role, that's when you go back to like literally dissect it and like study it in that fashion because you want to see all the subtle nuances that you can be able to add. But there's been so much of it that I have loved and held dear to my heart.
So talk to me about this character you're playing, without giving too much away as to where the film is going. About how would you best describe her?
The wonderful thing about the sequel is that we never got to experience a Zamundan woman besides the queen, right? So in this film, we get to experience a young Zamundan woman who goes against the grain. Every other woman in Zamunda is expected to be a bather or expected to be, a rose petal girl. And she chooses to be the groomer. So she runs the barbershop in Zamunda, which is absolutely amazing and so much fun. But what she does is that she reminds women that we can dream bigger, that we can want more for ourselves. She's witty, she's smart, she's going to catch your eye because she just has a different rhythm about her. And I think one thing that people are going to really enjoy about her is that she's going to connect with Lavelle and teach him how to truly be an heir to the throne because she's a historian. Like she knows everything about Zamunda. She will take viewers back to what the original came with and the quest of King Akeem.
Before we get into the cast, talk to me about the costumes and obviously working with whatever Ruth Carter is putting together.
I mean, what a legend, what an icon. Ruth Carter is beyond just a costume designer. She's a historian, okay? Mm-hmm. She is etched in the history books, and I'm so excited that for the first time ever, no costume designer in the history of Hollywood has ever received a star on the Walk of Fame, and Ruth Carter is going to get hers. So she is so deserving. She paid attention to detail. She highlighted so many African designers. She brought them to the forefront. She is so humble. I mean, I remember doing my fittings and she was just, hello, how are you? Oh, you're so tiny. Okay, come on, let's do fittings. And I'm like, wait, I need a moment. You're Ruth Carter. What's happening? But What a beautiful experience. The crowns on set. People are really going to just love where she took this. She got to play with it. There was no restraint at all.
You're working with a big cast. You don't have scenes with everybody, but there's a lot of known individuals in there, from Eddie to Arsenio, obviously, what am I thinking of? James Earl Jones, so many characters in there. Talking about, working with this cast, and, maybe was there ever a day where the whole cast was together?
There was the final scene. If you've seen the film, the final scene, we were all together having a grand old party, getting to connect. And mind you, it's a long shoot. So we weren't shooting it just for one day. We were shooting that over 3 days. And so I got to connect with so many. I think the only people that I didn't meet, the only person I didn't get to meet was Mr. James Earl Jones. That was it. But everyone else, there was some kind of intersecting of scenes. But I think it was amazing just to see how Black Hollywood royalty just surrounding you, and how much respect they had for each other, each one just pouring into the other. Oh my God, I watched you in New York. Remember you had that show? Wow. Oh my God, yeah, I saw that. You were in the room, I saw this. I'm so proud of you. Oh my goodness, so it was a reunion. And so Craig had a tough job of keeping that set, like even Mark Little, who is the first AD, who did such a fantastic job as well of just like granting us that freedom to geek over each other, but also like maintaining the peace. Like, yo, we still have a movie to shoot, okay?
You've done your work in South Africa. You've now got your biggest film in America. Where do we see you next in? I hear you're now in LA. Are you now looking for Hollywood movies, independent films? What tickles your fancy?
I mean, I moved here just because I wanted to, be closer to the pulse and play in the Hollywood space. And I didn't know that, the full circle moment would be this being my first film and being, my breakout film, and obviously it being Coming to America. So it's so ironic that it is my Coming to America story, truly. But I'm pinned for an indie film by Jesse Atlas, who is a Sundance Film Festival favorite. He's a filmmaker, and we're really excited about this film that we're about to shoot. We're shooting it in Canada, so I'm really excited about that. People can look out for that. And for the first
time, what's the title?
I can't give that away.
Okay.
Can't give that away. And for the first time ever, Puma is collaborating with an African a personality to create a fashion line, and that would be me. So I'm really excited about that. I think there's just a lot of things that I'm just looking forward to in this year, but most importantly, I'm looking forward to this antidote to 2020 that we get to have on the 5th of March when this movie premieres.
Mm-hmm. And before I let you go, obviously, from the work you've done, what did you get from working with Craig Brewer that you can take on to your other projects that's different from other directors you've worked with?
Craig gives so much freedom. He gives a lot of freedom to have it's really tough to have comedy and also give so much messaging. There's so many central themes that Craig Brewer, as a filmmaker and as a director, was able to capture in Coming to America. It's not only just the father and son element. There's a scene in the movie where Lavelle is going for a job interview and he's being interviewed by a white man. The subtle nuances in that scene is absolutely incredible. How Craig directed that, brilliant. How one of the central themes is also female empowerment and watching the women in Zamunda really rise up, and that coming from a white male director and doing it in such care with such depth and so many layers is just absolutely mind-blowing. It speaks about the versatility that he has as a director, and this is his moment. I'm so honored to have been under his care, just because he also is so respectful of my culture. He would be like, Nomzamo, how do you say this? Is this politically correct to say? Are you sure we can get away with this? We shouldn't say this? Okay, all right. How do you want to play this? So much freedom and just lifting as he rises.
Nomzamo, you did a great job on this. More people will start to know who you are. We're going to be Googling your name. Who is this girl? She's here to play. She's here to stay. I look forward to seeing you in your next project.
Thank you. Thank you so much.